The 1990 Grand Prix temperature is high, and round 10 here in Hungary could raise it to boiling point. The Hungaroring on the outskirts of Budapest has been called a street circuit without the houses, and it's slower than most. Power isn't so important, and grip is difficult to find. It's hot, it's tough, it's difficult to pass, and once again the correct tyre choice could decide the race. With only 4 points separating Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost in the championship, they both need success today. But Hungary is a leveller. Any of the McLaren, Ferrari, Williams or Benetton drivers could win. And so could Tyrrell's brilliant newcomer, Frenchman Jean Alesi, who starts from an excellent 6th on the grid, although it's not going to be easy for him.
Especially here because we have some traction problems. You can use a big engine very well because you have a wheel spin. So we have a very combination because the car is very easy to drive. I can push at the maximum and I can use my engine without problems.
In the Tyrrell team, it's not just Jean Alesi that's brilliant. His car, designed by Harvey Postlethwaite, goes well everywhere, but especially on a track like the Hungaroring. But what's the reason for that?
Oh, that's very simple. It's because we're running with between 60 and 100 horsepower less than most of the competitors that way. And when we go to Hockenheim, Silverstone, anywhere where there are long straights and lots of acceleration, we just can't. Even though I think the aerodynamics of the car are very good, we just can't. We can't hold a candle to them. But get here where the power advantage isn't so big, or the power advantage is less. Let's say we can be competitive.
You know, the start is very important. So you have to be concentrate only for the start, because it's like Monte Carlo, you can pass very easy. So if you start in good position, you can from the beginning push without problems and try to keep this position all the race.
The Tyrrell looks and goes well, but the all-conquering McLaren team have had problems in Hungary. Ayrton Senna starts from 4th on the grid instead of his usual pole position, because he went off in the last vital practice session. And in a season which gets better by the race, it's not an all-McLaren front row. It's an all-Williams front row, with Belgian Thierry Boutsen occupying his first ever pole position. At the Hungaroring, superb handling is the name of the game, and that means superb suspension. Jonathan Palmer.
As with your own family car, suspension is required on Grand Prix cars to cope with bumps, something the Hungaroring circuit has, by racetrack standards, in abundance. The basic components are the same: springs to absorb the bumps, dampers to stop the car continuing to bounce, together with anti-roll bars to keep the car flat on cornering. Don't get confused, by the way, with this, the protective roll-over bar, which every driver hopes he'll never need. Any suspension system must compromise between being soft and supple to provide a comfortable ride and being hard to sharpen steering response and provide optimum cornering grip. Clearly a Grand Prix car is totally designed for performance, hence the very harsh, jerky ride so obvious from the cockpit. This is achieved by using immensely stiff springs, designed to allow just millimetres of movement before the car hits the ground when sparks fly from the skid blocks. The length and position of these links, the wishbones, are carefully designed to keep the tyre flat on the ground at all times. The springs themselves are tucked in out of the airstream, and the full weight of the car is taken by this tiny rod. The relative stiffness of the suspension front to rear is critical to the way a car behaves at the cornering limit, and mechanics are often changing front and rear springs during practice sessions. So vital is it to maintain this balance throughout the race that the driver can even adjust the front suspension from the cockpit. Conventional metal springs are currently used by all, though with computerized active suspensions being developed by most top teams, their days are surely numbered.
For the first time since Spain 1987, 45 races ago, Williams drivers occupy both places on the front row of the grid. Thierry Boutsen in his first ever pole position and Riccardo Patrese second. Then the two McLarens, Berger third and Senna an unaccustomed fourth. Nigel Mansell is fifth, Jean Alesi is sixth. World champion Alain Prost is down at eighth, but Nigel Mansell won from 12th on the grid last year. Derek Warwick is 11th and Martin Donnelly is 18th. Go! And Boutsen is going to lead into the right-hander first, coming up alongside and going through. It's the McLaren going through. It's the Williams in the lead, and it's Thierry Boutsen.
Yes, I think that's Berger who got through. Tremendous. Berger, in fact, made a fabulous start. The two Williams drivers spotted that and quite rightly closed the gap that he was aiming for down the middle. And Mansell having a look in the Ferrari there at Patrese, having a look at both sides, and Senna down behind that group in some 5th or 6th place. So a poor start for Ayrton Senna.
And he's going to have to work very hard indeed to make up that deficit. So the race at the present moment just started. Thierry Boutsen leading from pole position. Berger, then Patrese, then Mansell in 4th position, then Alesi. And so Thierry Boutsen leads. Gerhard Berger in 2nd place in the McLaren as they come round the far side of the circuit, this 2.5 mile lap. And you can see what I meant now about what a superb circuit. There's Boutsen. There's the gap between Thierry Boutsen leading, Berger in 2nd place, Patrese 3rd.
And Prost, I just counted out on the back of the circuit, in 9th place. So the two World Championship leaders, both with a lot of work to do as they go through. There goes Mansell in the Ferrari, with Senna 2 places behind him, Alesi ahead of Senna.
And Mansell has already gained a place. He's up into 4th position and he's challenging Patrese. There it is. There is Riccardo Patrese 3rd. Nigel Mansell, last year's winner, with that brilliant move where he passed Ayrton Senna in 4th position. Alesi is in 5th place. Ayrton Senna is in 6th position. So the Brazilian is indeed going to have to work very hard, and you can see how they're getting comparatively spread out. There goes Mansell. Here comes Alesi 5th. You can see that he's pulling away from Ayrton Senna, world champion of 1988. That is him. And Alessandro Nannini, who drove so well in Germany, is doing so here. Mansell 4th.
Mansell seems to be able to put in the fastest lap every time, at any time that he wants. Any time he's got a clear run, he seems to be the quickest man on the circuit, and he's done it again, a 24.1 on this previous lap. And does that mean that he's moving up to get into a position to challenge? Now, Senna dropped back a little bit from Alesi, and they are losing ground. That group is now 7 seconds behind Nigel Mansell.
And off goes the Tyrrell of Satoru Nakajima. Well, that is confirmation of the fact that that car on that tyre is having a struggle here at the Hungaroring, because Alesi went off twice in the warm-up. And now Satoru Nakajima is very obviously out of the race, having smashed the back of his Tyrrell into the Armco. And you're looking at the midfield men now. That's a replay as Nakajima goes onto the gravel trap and manages to keep it going, only to go into the tyre wall. Well, that was entirely his fault. I know it's easy to criticise, but as a result of injudicious use of the throttle, Satoru Nakajima is out of the Hungarian Grand Prix.
The leader, that's Mansell, who was a bit delayed in the traffic, and Alesi and Senna go through with Nannini right behind them, and then there's a gap to Piquet of over 3 seconds, and Prost, I should think, will start having to play an attacking game and try and force his way past Nelson Piquet. Whoops, and Senna's right up with Alesi.
They're lapping through the field there, and you saw Ayrton Senna locking up his brakes there. He was trying to dive through the inside and take Alesi, who would have nothing of it, slam the door in the Brazilian's face, and Ayrton Senna is still in 6th position. Boutsen still leads, Berger still 2nd, Patrese still 3rd. Now here's a replay of Senna. Now watch him lock up his brakes, go diving for the apex,
Alesi slams the door in his face, and of course behind Ayrton Senna is Alessandro Nannini, 7th.
Yes, that was good stuff by both of them, and that was an example of Senna doing just the right thing, trying to be an opportunist in the traffic and jump Alesi, but Alesi was absolutely right, and Senna having a look down the inside, and Senna finally makes it past Jean Alesi. So Senna, his attentions over the last couple of laps in the traffic have paid off, and Nannini looking quite rightly all over the back of Alesi, looking for a way to follow through. It can very often be that as one driver goes past a car, the driver of the car that's just been passed loses concentration a little bit for that moment, and the chap following the pair can very often nip past in the wake of the first one.
And Thierry Boutsen, of course, who's going through the field now, will be hoping that that does not happen to him.
And that's Gabriele Tarquini who's holding it up, and Boutsen having a look, not finding a way, and that's put Berger right on Boutsen's tail. So Berger will be looking again for the opportunist chance, and Mansell we're looking at there, not far behind him, but not close enough to pick up the pieces of any grease caused by Tarquini. Now Boutsen's going to go past him on the straight with no problem, but it may well be that Berger won't be able to quite make it, and he does. Berger's always a brave man, braking from quite far behind him. He was right through, and that is important.
But now Patrese, having passed Tarquini, is right up with Berger, and Mansell is attacking the Italian in the black AGS, and into the pits comes Ayrton Senna. This is lap 23, and Ayrton is the first man to stop for tyres of any significance. And let's see how the McLaren pit stop time goes. Well, 10.1 second stop, not a particularly good one. But Ayrton Senna, of course, having changed his Goodyear boots, has lost a place, because now through up into 6th position has gone Nannini, to 7th position has gone Piquet, to 8th position has gone Prost, and there's someone spinning. It's a Ligier, it's Philippe Alliot. And Ayrton Senna is down to 10th position. Nigel Mansell may have said he intends to retire at the end of the season, although so many people hope he doesn't, but he's lost none of his sharpness, he's lost none of his aggression. He's really pushing Riccardo Patrese. There's Berger, here's Patrese, 3rd, with Mansell again having a look as they go into that fast right-hander, then the drop down to turn 2, and this could be his opportunity. But there they go, there is Patrese. And meantime, the two ahead of them, Boutsen and Berger, are getting past the Lolos. And there you go, there is Mansell still there.
Big slide from Mansell, very well held, but that was very close to being a costly mistake. That was a serious heart in the mouth for a moment slide for Mansell, and that would have been a terrible way to end it all here. And even further down the field, Prost still can't find a way past the DFV engine Tyrrell of Jean Alesi. As we look backwards.
From Alain Prost's Ferrari. And Prost is in 7th position now. He is ahead of Alesi. The crowd rose, the crowd roared as world champion Alain Prost in the Ferrari, who now really does seem to be on a charge, moved up into 7th place. 1 place off the points, and he's 4 points behind Senna in the World Championship. It's still Boutsen leading, Berger 2nd, Patrese 3rd, Mansell 4th, Nannini 5th, Piquet 6th, and Alain Prost in 7th position. Senna came in for tyres, incidentally, because he had a hole in the wheel which had let the air out, hence the requirement for a new one. And it's closed right up now as Stefano Modena, I think, retires. He goes down the straight with a badly stuttering Judd engine. And there's a challenge. Nigel Mansell up with Patrese. Is the Italian going to let him through? He is not.
No, not a chance that time with Patrese. He had to be looking on the left. And as a result of that, Nannini, you see, that delayed Mansell, and that's Modena just parking his Brabham. The engine was popping and banging and not running properly at all. So that's another disappointing day's work for Stefano Modena, just organising them to get the car to a nice safe spot and cool down anything that might flare up. But the action pretty furious now with so many back markers and the lead and a leading bunch of 5 cars.
2.8 seconds covering the first 4 as Eric Bernard goes through to take Emanuele Pirro. Bernard in the Lola, and there goes the Ferrari through. And coming towards us now, Mansell followed by Nannini. The crowd rises again. I'm waiting for them to come by the commentary position now so that we can see what all their excitement is about. Off has gone Martini and the Tyrrell of John Alesi. So now the retirements go up to 5. And that's the Ferrari there. Who is it?
That's Alain Prost, number 1 car on the rear wing I saw there, and and this is what happened to Alesi. Alesi contact with Martini, who he was lapping, and that has put Alesi and of course Martini well out of the race. Now what happened with Alain Prost we don't yet know, but that has moved Senna right up into the point. So Senna moves up now into 6th place.
And there is the brilliant little Frenchman walking in. Well, he knows he's lost at least 1 point to Ayrton Senna in the World Championship, but Boutsen leads by 0.6 of a second, maybe less, because there is Berger in 2nd place. Riccardo Patrese is 3.5 seconds behind them, less than that it seems to me, as they go through to complete lap 39. And then there's a gap with Mansell going through 3 seconds behind Patrese in 4th position. Nannini has dropped back a little. There he is in 5th position and in 6th place. I'm waiting now for him to come through. It should be Ayrton Senna. And still Mansell keeps up the pressure. And he can see, of course, Gerhard Berger ahead of Patrese. He can see Thierry Boutsen ahead of Berger. So he's got an enormous incentive, plus the fact that he's yet to win a race for Ferrari in 1990. This could be it. Now he is closer here, I think, than to Patrese. Now let's see if the Italian, with all his 201 Grand Prix of experience, yes, he does. He uses that superior power. It's an amazing testimony to the Renault technicians. They came back into Grand Prix racing only in 1989 after having been out for quite a long time. And their previous engine, of course, had been a turbocharged engine. They came back with this V10 3.5-litre engine, and now they have got an engine which is showing the redoubtable Ferrari team the way to go. And if there's one thing that Ferrari are famous for, apart from victories of which they've scored more than anyone else, 101 now, it is for the strength and power of their engines. But the Renault V10 of Patrese is seeing off Nigel Mansell.
Senna is now some 7 seconds behind Nannini, but with the help of a bit of traffic, the leading group are going to hit. It may well be that by the time they've got through it all, he'll be right on their tail. And look at this.
Yes, because Boutsen has got past Donnelly and Berger hasn't, and that's given Patrese and Mansell the opportunity to close up with the McLaren. And it's given Boutsen the opportunity to clear off, and into the pits comes Gerhard Berger. Now, Ayrton Senna is the first leader of the first to have come in. He wasn't leading the race, but he was one of the top men. And that means, of course, that Gerhard Berger is losing places. He comes in now, and here he is stopping now. I've got the stopwatch running as you watch Mansell, and I'm looking across the pitch when you're looking at Berger now and the time.
Yes, that has been an unscheduled stop. As away goes Gerhard Berger, but that certainly isn't the planned stop at this stage of the race, whether he's had a puncture or whether he just decided he's lost grip on his tyres, but that will have cost him dear.
And so Senna has now moved up into 5th place. Thierry Boutsen leading. He has got ahead of Alio. He's got ahead of Gugelmin. There is Patrese, still in 2nd position. Nigel Mansell still in 3rd place. Look for Nannini. There he is behind the Ferrari. And look for Ayrton Senna. There he is. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and Mansell having a go. Senna is right up with them now. You see in the same shot almost. Patrese second, Mansell third, Nannini fourth, and there in the red and white McLaren, Ayrton Senna in sixth position, Gerhard Berger, fastest man on the circuit, and then Piquet, Warwick and Bernard. Race order: Boutsen, Patrese, Mansell, Nannini, Senna, Berger. So both of the McLarens are in the top six, and so of course are both the Williams, first and second.
Now, this will be an interesting thing to watch, to see if Senna's extra special genius is able to do anything about the overtaking gears. We know that Senna is probably the number one overtaker in the business, as Mansell climbing all over the back of Patrase's Williams. Patrese forcing him out to the long way around the corner. Almost rubbing wheels there, dear oh dear, and they get on the power. And in fact, Mansell got to back off, and it's going to cost him the place with Nannini. And now, and Senna coming up to join in. He's going to jump Mansell, and Mansell thinks tremendous stuff. Mansell trying to stay around the outside. Switch on, Senna going down, and Senna's inside Mansell. Can Mansell do him on the exit? And that was all very sad for Mansell. All that work behind Patrese, he just got over-enthusiastic. One tiny error in that he must have had to lift off coming out of the corner. You see he's lost ground to Patrese, and he was right on him before. That cost him his momentum all the way down the straight, and that cost him 2 places. And one has to sympathise deeply with Nigel Mansell. As usual, as you'd expect, Senna being tremendous opportunist, not here at the next corner, dives inside. As Mansell, a bit messy coming out, doesn't get the power on. And this is bravery unique to Ayrton Senna, right down on the inside verge, blocking the front wheel, but still makes it through.
Nannini to third, Senna to fourth, Mansell down to fifth.
Yes, Mansell caught up an enormous amount in that lap. We'll have a look at the lap times, and that's his fastest lap of the race, so he certainly doesn't need tires. As Nannini goes through, holds the line, looks like he might slide wide. Mansell right up on the tail of the group, so, and Berger there, and Senna having a go through. Senna makes it past Patrese, so it's all change up front, and this race might have been processional in the first 2/3, but it's making up for it now as Mansell has a look alongside Patrese. Has to give best, it's the wrong side to be doing it to Riccardo Patrese, and the Ferrari team still all poised with tires, but somebody should tell them that Mansell, doing his fast enough of the race, certainly doesn't want a fresh set of tires now. He's going fantastically quickly. He's cleaned them up if he did have a problem. All is now well, and he desperately needs to get past Patrese. Now, Patrese was his bugbear throughout this race. He couldn't do it, but and he'll have to do something now, because Nannini and Senna both jumped him in the space of 2 corners and are already clear away.
And Senna, of course, immediately becomes a potential winner of the race, having got past that bunch. There's Patrese, there is Mansell, Berger right behind him. And into the pits comes Riccardo Patrese. His race is lost. Up go Mansell and Berger. And now Thierry Boutsen leads Alessandro Nannini by nearly 6 seconds. Senna in third position is 2.6 seconds behind Nannini. Mansell is in 4th position. Berger is 5th. Piquet is up into 6th position. You're looking at Riccardo Patrese in 4 tires. And I remind you that Senna and Berger had both. That was a marvellous stop. We are on lap 57 in the 77 lap race, and I'm sure we've still got a lot more action to see as Riccardo Patrese rockets out in 7th position ahead of Derek Warwick. Oh, there's a spin. I don't know whether it's Boutsen or Patrese. I think it was Patrese. Yes, it was. But he caught it.
At the back of that group, and Berger was starting to have a look for a way round Nigel Mansell. Barilla is in the way, and Boutsen isn't going to make it past on this, the last of the quick bits of the circuit before they get back to the start-finish straight. And so this should concertina that whole group up together again. Already the Williams will be feeling the effect of the turbulence from Barilla's car. Will be losing a little bit of grip, and the others starting to queue up. Now this really is, with Boutsen, these 4 behind him, the tortoise and the haves situation. Is Boutsen going to be able to hold on with steady driving without... He's never really driven very quickly during this race, but he's been in the right place. He's driven tactically immaculately, and now it's judgment day for him, with 4 of the top men breathing down his neck, and quite a few laps to go. Real pressure for Thierry Boutsen.
Berger now goes for Mansell and takes that 4th position as they go into the only braking point on the circuit where he could get by. Gerhard Berger on newer tyres, of course, than any of those with him. Mansell fighting back out on the outside, and he retakes the place. Well, if his tyres are worn, Nigel's reflexes are fantastic. 4th position. Back again. Berger goes down to 5th. Senna is right up with Nannini, who is right up with Boutsen, the leader, and they are right up with Barilla. Here is Mansell 4th.
Yes, it looked to me as if maybe Berger had a little fumble for a gear then between turns 1 and 2, giving Mansell the chance, and Senna getting inside and contact, Senna attacked Nannini. Nannini is going again, and what happened? I didn't see where Ayrton Senna finished. Did he continue?
Well, I can't see either. We'll soon know, though, because the leaders are coming through. Here's a replay. It's another example of Senna diving through on the inside. He's done it so many times in the past. Up on the curb, you can see Nannini well and truly punted out of the way. And I do believe that Senna, who must be the cause of the problem, has kept going.
So Nannini has come in. The car has suffered some damage, or if it hasn't, he'll want to have it looked over before putting it back to racing speed. So Nannini into the pits.
Rotten luck for Alessandro Nannini, to put it very mildly indeed, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's some bitter words spoken between the Italian and the Brazilian after this race is finished.
But he's got away with it, and he's second on the road and challenging very much for another win.
Lap time's identical. It's just possible, of course. We don't know. Senna's in the cockpit, we're not. It's just possible that contact may have deranged the suspension slightly, may have worn the tyres slightly, may therefore enable Thierry Boutsen to keep ahead, and is certainly enabling Nigel Mansell, if that is the case, to close on the Brazilian. These are the first 4. The gaps are 0.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds, 0.3 seconds, but its times are absolutely meaningless. It's visual turbulence, of course, of the car in front affects the car behind, which gives Thierry Boutsen another advantage, because turbulence is going to affect Senna. His turbulence affects Mansell. His turbulence affects Berger. Piquet is still in 5th position. Riccardo Patrese is still in 6th place. So 2 McLarens and 2 Williams Renaults are in. And Berger attacking Mansell, and he's done exactly the same as Senna did. And this time it's Mansell that suffers. Well, what can you say? That's Nigel Mansell's catchphrase, and it now becomes mine, because it looks as though he's out of the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Well, I do hope he kept his engine running, because he's got an easy 4th place as we see the replay now. Berger again spotted an opportunity, thought what he thought was an opportunity, gave Mansell no chance. Mansell couldn't see him doing that, turned into the corner and went for a hole that simply didn't exist. And that's put Boutsen and Senna clear in front. And Mansell did not get going again, and here we see once more. And what a great shame. This was naughty of Berger. There wasn't room as Mansell turns into the corner. It's too tight. But I don't know. Berger was pretty much alongside him now.
Berger is coming into the pits, so the McLaren becomes the 9th retirement. Derek Warwick is now in the point on lap 74 out of 77, with Boutsen leading Ayrton Senna by just a very, very small margin. Piquet is 3rd, 26 seconds behind them.
Boutsen maintaining his cool. And they are now on their last lap. And really a very fine, steady drive by Thierry Boutsen, and it looks as if it's going to pay dividends, but it's not over yet, and Senna will be looking for a way round, all the way around this lap. Very reminiscent of the late Graham Hill, this Boutsen drive. Tremendous determination, doing all the right things tactically without ever having to go fantastically fast. Other people have been whizzing around behind him to no effect. Boutsen has withstood everything. He's held on, and it looks as if he's going to, but you never know with Senna.
Indeed you do not, and there's a back marker up to turn 7 out of 11. I think it's one of the arrows, but Boutsen's, it is one of the arrows. It's Michele Alboreto who is in front of Thierry Boutsen as he comes down to turn 10 on the last lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Ayrton Senna could still do it. They're going past the pit lane now. Boutsen needs to keep it good and tight. He is going to win the Hungarian Grand Prix for his 3rd victory, and Thierry Boutsen does indeed do just that. From Belgium, Brussels, Thierry Boutsen, who has driven an immaculate race, wins his 3rd Grand Prix. They are great friends, Thierry Boutsen and Ayrton Senna, and Senna realises that he's been fairly and squarely beaten by his friend. Nelson Piquet coming home in 3rd position. There he is over the line.
For the first half of the race, I was just controlling it. I had Gerhard behind me, about a second and a half behind me. And I was just driving at his speed to conserve the tires, to try to go as far as we could with the tires of the race, especially because I had quite a lot of oversteer from the beginning of the race. After that, there was a little bit of gap, 5, 6, 7 seconds with the next one, but then the gap closed very quickly because my rear tires had gone off completely, and I was sliding very, very much, and I tried to keep Ayrton behind as much as I could until the last lap, and it was all right to cross the finish line. I don't think I could have done one more lap in front of him.
It was very close with Mansell, with Nannini. It was much too close. In fact, I came to the inside, and I don't know whether he didn't see me or he just tried to close the door, and I put my car over the grass, but I couldn't avoid the contact. He went in the air, and fortunately my car was very little damage. So I'm very happy for the result. I think I was not expecting for sure to be in the top 3 here before coming to this race. I was expecting the 2 Ferraris to be very strong. And of course, in terms of championship, 2nd place for me, with the other results, the other 6 places is perfect.
A magnificent victory in Hungary for Thierry Boutsen, finishing just ahead of Ayrton Senna, with Nelson Piquet in 3rd position, Riccardo Patrese 4th, Derek Warwick in the points at 5th, and Eric Bernard in 6th position. So now Ayrton Senna leads Alain Prost in the Drivers' Championship by 10 points, with Gerhard Berger 3rd, Thierry Boutsen in 4th position, Nelson Piquet 5th, and Riccardo Patrese 6th. McLaren extend their lead in the Constructors' Championship to 26 points ahead of Ferrari. Williams back to 3rd position, Benetton down to 4th, and Tyrrell in 5th place. And in 2 weeks' time, we go to the great natural road course Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. With the competition boiling, are we going to see another new winner? Watch Grand Prix.